Welcome, dear dreamer. Tonight, you have entered a sacred space, a place where time slows down, and the winds of the desert carry ancient voices to your heart. This is Whispers of the Wind, and tonight's tale is called Whispers of the Desert Night. Ancient tales before sleep. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself beneath a vast desert sky, where the moon glows silver and countless stars flicker like 1,000 watchful eyes. The air is cool, the sand is soft beneath your feet, and the night is alive with stories. In the desert, silence is never truly silent. Every breeze carries a memory, every stone remembers a story, and every shadow holds wisdom waiting to be discovered. Tonight, I will share with you ancient tales, inspired by Native American traditions, desert folklore, and the whispers of long-forgotten travelers. These stories are not just for listening. They are for feeling. They are medicine for the restless heart, guiding you toward peace and gentle dreams. So breathe deeply, exhale your worries, and let us begin our journey. Long ago, before the desert was dry, before the rivers shrank into memory, there was a time when the stars walked among us. One of them was known as the Star Woman. Her hair shimmered like the Milky Way, and her eyes carried the glow of distant suns. She walked to the desert sands at night, blessing those who wandered under the moonlight. The people believed that if you met the Star Woman, she would whisper to you your true purpose. But she was shy, appearing only to those with pure hearts. One evening, a young traveler named Kale set out across the desert. He was tired, lost, and uncertain of his path. As he walked, the stars seemed to move closer, guiding him with gentle flickers of light. Suddenly, before him stood the Star Woman. "Why do you wander, child of the earth?" she asked softly. Kale bowed his head. "I search for where I belong. I do not know my purpose." The Star Woman reached out her hand and placed it over his heart. "Your purpose is not written in the sand or the sky. It lives here, inside you. Listen closely, and you will hear it." That night, Kale dreamed of building a village where weary travelers could rest. When Awoke followed his dream, his village became a haven in the desert, and people called it the Heart of the Sands. And so, the Star Woman became known as the one who awakens dreams. To this day, desert wanderers say, if you gaze long enough at the night sky and listen to the whispers of your own heart, the Star Woman will speak to you too. Intidizat Coyote is both a trickster and a teacher. He loves to play tricks, but his tricks often hide deep lessons. One night, when the world was still young, Coyote looked up at the sky and saw the moon shining brightly. He grew jealous of her beauty. "Why should she glow while I am covered in dust?" Grumbled. So Coyote decided to steal the moon's light. He climbed a tall mesa, stretched his paws, and snatched a piece of her glow. With it, he decorated his fur, hoping to be admired. But the moon, wise and patient, only laughed. "Coyote," she said, "your foolishness shines brighter than any light you could steal. But since you love the glow so much, I will leave you a gift." And she placed silver markings along his fur, the shimmering patterns that desert coyotes still carry in the moonlight. "From now on," the moon declared, "you will always sing to me, not out of jealousy, but out of longing. Your howl will remind the people that beauty cannot be stolen. It must be shared. That is why, when you hear a coyote's howl beneath the desert sky, it sounds both playful and mournful, a song of love to the moon. There is a canyon deep in the desert that the people call the Sleeping Canyon. By day, it is quiet, but at night, if you listen closely, you can hear a low hum, like the earth itself, breathing in its sleep. Long ago, a giant walked across the desert. His heart was heavy, and his steps shook the land. He was tired of endless wandering. One evening he lay down between the cliffs, resting his head on the rocks. His body stretched across the valley. The giant fell into a deep sleep and never awoke. The earth grew over him, shaping the cliffs into his form. The winds carved his breath into a song, and the rivers once flowed where his tears had fallen. The people say, the giant still dreams. His dream is what gives the desert its mysteries. The shifting sands, the strange echoes, the endless stars. And so, when travelers pass through the sleeping canyon, they speak softly, for they do not wish to wake him. Instead, they listen and carry a piece of his dream into their own hearts. And so, dear dreamer, the desert whispers its first secrets. We have walked beneath the stars, listened to the howl of the coyote, and rested in the breath of a sleeping giant. But the night is far from over. More stories await as the desert winds continue to whisper. For now, let your body sink deeper into rest. The sands are soft, the stars are kind, and the night cradles you in its embrace. Breathe slowly, listen closely, and prepare for the next tale. The night deepens. The stars shift ever so slightly across the endless sky, and the desert wind brushes softly against the dunes. You are still here, beneath the vast heavens, listening to the whispers carried across the sands. Our first stories reminded us of the Star Woman, the playful coyote, and the dream of the sleeping canyon. Now, let us continue deeper into the night, where firelight flickers and shadows move like dancers, telling stories older than memory. Long ago, before the villages of the desert were built, the people gathered around great fires to share warmth and stories. But there was a problem. Without a voice to bring the people together, their gatherings were scattered and quiet. One night, a boy named Tahu wandered into the desert. He felt the earth shake beneath his feet. Soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Curious, he pressed his ear to the sand and heard the deep thrum of the earth itself. The earth spirit spoke to him. Child, the desert has a heart, just as you do. Carry its rhythm to your people. The boy gathered stretched hide and wood from fallen trees and built the first drum. When he played it, the beat echoed the desert's own heartbeats. The people came together, drawn by its sound. They sang, danced, and told stories, united in rhythm. From that day forward, the drum became more than an instrument. It was a bridge between the people and the living desert. Even now, when a drum beats in the night, some say the desert listens, answering with the pulse of the wind and the hum of the earth. In the Sonoran desert, tall saguaros stretch toward the sky like silent guardians. To the people, they are not just plants. They are wise spirits, keeping watch over the land. There was once a woman who wandered into the desert in sorrow. Her family had passed, and she felt alone in the world. She cried beneath the blazing sun, her tears sinking into the sand. The saguaros, seeing her grief, spoke to her in whispers carried by the wind. Do not cry, child. We are your family now. The woman leaned against their tall arms, and for the first time in many moons, she slept peacefully. When she awoke, she felt their presence around her. Quiet, patient, eternal. She built her home near the saguaros, and every evening she shared her stories aloud, so they would never feel lonely. In return, the saguaros gave her strength, their silhouettes standing tall against the horizon like guardians of her spirit. To this day, travelers say that if you spend the night among saguaros, you will never truly feel alone. Their tall arms hold you, silently, like protectors of the desert soul. The desert may seem dry and empty, but long ago, it was filled with flowing rivers. One of these rivers was unlike any other. It was said to be made of pure starlight. According to legend, a young woman named Naye once followed the river at night. Its waters glowed, lighting her path. She asked the river, "Why do you shine?" The river replied, "I carry the dreams of the stars. Each drop is a dream, falling to earth so mortals may find their way." Naya followed the river to its source, a hidden spring at the heart of the desert. There, she saw stars falling from the sky into the water, turning into silver streams. The river told her, "Take some of my water, and you will always find your way, no matter how lost you become." Naya filled a small gourd with the glowing water. From then on, whenever her people wandered, she poured a single drop upon the sand, and it led them safely to shelter and water. The river has long since vanished, But some say the Milky Way across the sky is its reflection, the eternal river of stars. And if you ever feel lost, look upward. The stars still guide travelers through the desert night. High among the cliffs, an owl kept watch over the desert. Her wings were wide, her eyes glowed golden, and she saw everything that moved across the sands. The people both feared and respected her, for she was said to carry messages between the living and the spirit world. One evening, a young hunter grew lost. The sun had set, and shadows stretched across the land. He heard the hoot of the owl echoing from the cliffs. At first, he was afraid, but then he remembered the teachings of the elders. The owl does not call to harm. It calls to guide. He followed her sound, each hoot leading him closer to the path home. At last, he emerged from the canyon and saw his village lights glowing in the distance. From that day forward, he left offerings of cornmeal and song whenever he heard the owl's call, in gratitude for her guidance. The people still say that when you hear an owl in the desert night, it is not a warning. It is a guide. The owl sees what you cannot, and her song lights the way through darkness. Far in the desert, there is said to be a stone unlike any other. It glows faintly in the moonlight, and those who sleep beside it are given powerful dreams. One traveler weary from his journey once rested against this stone. That night, he dreamed of a city filled with kindness and laughter, where no one went hungry and every voice was heard. When Aowuk felt changed, he could not forget the vision. He returned to his people and began to build a place of sharing, a village where food and shelter were offered freely. His dreams spread, inspiring others to build with him. And though the stone's glow faded from memory, the village remained, built from a vision that began in sleep. To this day, the people believe that dreams are not illusions. They are seeds planted by the desert, waiting to be brought to life. And sometimes, when the moon is full, travelers claim they still see the faint glow of the stone of dreams on the horizon. And so, dear listener, the night deepens further. We have heard the heartbeat of the desert through the drum, felt the gentle watch of the saguaros, followed the glowing river of stars, and listened to the owl's guidance. The desert is alive, not just with sand and stone, but with memory, song, and spirit. As you breathe slowly, imagine yourself walking among these stories. Each one is a companion, guiding you gently toward rest. The wind is softer now. The stars are brighter, and the night still has more tales to share. So rest your body, calm your mind, and let the whispers of the desert carry you into the next dream. The night continues to unfold. The moon climbs higher, bathing the desert sands in silver light. A cool breeze flows through the canyons, carrying with it echoes of voices. Voices that have lived here long before us, and will remain long after. You have listened to the star woman, the playful coyote, the dream of the canyon, the rhythm of the drum, the wisdom of the river of stars, the guiding owl, and the stone of dreams. But the desert still has more to whisper. Let us walk deeper into this dream. The wind in the desert is no ordinary wind. It is said to be alive, a messenger of the spirits. Long ago, a young girl named Asha wandered far from her village. She was searching for her brother, who had gone hunting and not returned. The sun set, the stars rose, and she grew afraid. Then she heard the desert wind. It whispered her name, Asha. This way. Though frightened, she followed the sound. The wind led her between dunes, through narrow canyons, and at last, to a small cave where her brother lay injured, unable to walk. She carried him home, guided always by the whispers of the wind. From that day on, her people believed the desert wind was a guardian. Sometimes harsh, sometimes gentle, but always carrying messages from those who care for us. Even now, when the desert breeze brushes your skin at night, listen closely. Perhaps it carries a message meant only for you. There is a tale of a fire hidden beneath the desert. It is not a fire that burns wood or flesh, but a fire of spirit. Long ago, a warrior named Tanakh felt hopeless. His people were tired, their food scarce, and their will fading. One evening, as he walked alone, he fell to his knees in despair. Suddenly, the ground beneath him glowed. From the sand rose a flame, warm golden and alive. It did not burn, but filled him with strength. The fire spoke. "I am the spirit of your ancestors. As long as you carry me in your heart, you will never be weak." Tanakh returned to his people and told them of the fire. He shared its warmth with them through song and courage. Their spirits lifted, and they survived the harsh season together. To this day, the desert fire is remembered as a symbol of resilience. Some say that on the coldest nights, if you place your hand on the sand, you might feel its warmth. The fire of courage still glowing beneath the earth. High above the desert floor, there are cliffs carved into strange shapes. The people believed one of these shapes was alive, a guardian made of stone, watching over travelers below. They called him the Watcher of the Cliffs. One evening, a small group of children strayed too far from their village. They wandered into dangerous ground, where snakes and scorpions waited. But as the moon rose, one child looked up and saw the silhouette of a giant face in the rocks. The stone face seemed to point with its shadow, guiding them toward the path home. When they told their families, the elders nodded. "Yes," they said, "the Watcher always guards us. He sees what we cannot." Even today, hikers and travelers claim that the desert cliffs sometimes look like faces. Not accidents of nature, but reminders that we are never alone, even in the vastness of the desert. The dreamcatcher is known across many traditions as a web of protection, guarding the sleeper from dark visions. But there is a special legend of one hidden deep in the desert dunes. According to the story, a great spider once spun a dreamcatcher so large it stretched across the night sky. It caught not only nightmares, but also falling stars, weaving them into the dreams of those who slept beneath it. A wandering child once fell asleep under the open desert sky, frightened of nightmares. When he woke, he told his people of a dream so beautiful it felt like a song. A dream where stars danced, and the earth itself whispered lullabies. The elders explained that he had slept beneath the desert's dreamcatcher. They told him, "As long as you sleep beneath the sky, you are never without its web of protection." That is why, even today, many place dreamcatchers near their beds. Not only to protect against bad dreams, but to honor the great web that stretches across the heavens. In today's earth, ravens are clever birds, often seen circling above. Some fear them, but others see them as guides. There was once a drought that lasted many moons. The people prayed, but the skies remained empty. Then, one morning, a raven flew into the village carrying a single pebble in its beak. It dropped the pebble at the feet of a child and flew away. The child picked it up and felt it cool against her skin. She followed the raven's flight, and after a long walk, she found a hidden spring bubbling from the rocks. The people rejoiced, and from that day forward, they fed the ravens, honoring them as messengers of hidden blessings. The lesson of the raven is simple. Do not ignore small gifts. Even the smallest pebble may lead to water, hope, and life. In a small desert village, there lived a young boy who longed to play music, but he had no instrument and no teacher. One day, as he wandered alone, he found a hollow piece of wood lying in the sand. Curious, he lifted it to his lips and blew. A soft note floated out, gentle but haunting. Each night, he played beneath the stars. The desert listened. The wind carried his song across the dunes, and animals gathered quietly to hear. Over time, his flute grew famous, not because it was loud or grand, but because it was humble and filled with heart. The elders said the desert itself had given him the gift. To this day, the sound of a flute in the desert is said to calm storms, soothe spirits, and call dreams closer to the listener's heart. And so, dear dreamer, the desert whispers more of its secrets. We have walked with the wind, touched the hidden fire, felt the gaze of the cliffs, slept beneath the dreamcatcher of the sky, followed the raven to water, and listened to the quiet song of the flute. The desert teaches us. Strength can be hidden, guidance can be subtle, and beauty can be found in silence. Let these stories settle softly into your heart. The night is not yet over, and many more whispers remain. Breathe deeply. Feel the sands beneath you, and prepare for the next chapter of our journey. The desert night grows deeper. The stars glow like silver lanterns, scattered across the velvet sky. The moon leans lower, as if listening to the stories drifting through the cool air. You are still here, walking gently through the dreamscape of the desert. Every whisper of the wind carries another story. Every grain of sand holds another memory. And tonight, the stories continue. High above the desert cliffs, the eagle soars, wings wide, eyes sharp, a king of the sky. The people believe the eagle carried prayers to the heavens, for its flight touched the clouds. Once, a young man named Darren wished for guidance. His path was unclear, and he felt lost. He climbed a mountain, hoping to see his future from its peak. At the top, he collapsed in exhaustion. But as he lay there, an eagle's shadow passed over him. In that moment, his heart grew steady, his mind calm. He realized that just as the eagle sees far without rushing, so too must he learn patience. From then on, he walked slower, listened more. And with time, his path revealed itself. The eagle's shadow became a blessing. Even now, when an eagle flies above the desert, people say its shadow carries strength and clarity. If it touches you, it is a gift of vision and patience. In some places of the desert, the dunes sing. When the wind brushes across them, or when footsteps slide down their slopes, a deep humming note fills the air, like a drum or a low flute. The people say this is not mere sound, but the voice of the desert itself. Long ago, a child asked, "Why does the sand sing?" The elders replied, "Because the earth remembers. It sings to remind us of the stories buried beneath it." There was once a warrior who listened closely to the singing dunes. In their song heard warnings of storms, whispers of hidden springs, and even messages from loved ones far away. When he taught his people to listen, they survived droughts and storms that might have destroyed them. And so the dunes still sing, though most do not hear their words. Only those who listen with patience can understand the music of the desert. The roadrunner is a quick, clever bird, darting across the sands with speed and grace. To the people, it was not just a bird, but a symbol of protection and guidance. There was once a traveler pursued by danger, a snake in the sand. He was weary, and the snake was faster. Just when he thought all was lost, a roadrunner appeared. With swift steps, it darted before him, distracting the snake, guiding the man away. The man followed, and the roadrunner led him to safety. Since then, roadrunners have been honored as protectors of travelers. Some say their tracks in the sand, shaped like little arrows, are messages pointing the way forward. If you see a roadrunner in the desert, it may not just be a bird. It may be a spirit guiding you away from harm and toward safe passage. There was once a time when the sun grew tired. She had shone for countless days, burning hot upon the desert sands, and she longed for rest. One evening, as she sat beyond the horizon, she shed tears. Golden, glowing tears that fell into the sand. The people found them the next morning. They were stones of amber, warm to the touch, filled with light. The elders called them the sun's tears, and they became sacred. It was said that keeping one of these stones near you brought courage during hard times, for it reminded you of the sun's sacrifice. Even today, when travelers find amber-colored stones in the desert, they remember our gifts of strength, born from the sun's weary heart. Deep in the desert, hidden among cliffs, there is a cave known for its whispers. Stand inside, and the walls seem to echo words. Not your own, but voices from long ago. Once, a girl entered the cave, seeking answers. She felt small and unimportant, unsure if her life mattered. As she sat in silence, the cave whispered, "You are part of the song. Without you, the song is not complete." The girl carried these words home and grew into a wise leader, guiding her people with humility and strength. To this day, those who visit the Whispering Cave leave in silence, carrying with them a message meant only for their heart. The desert reminds us, we are never insignificant. Every grain of sand, every breath of wind, every voice, all are part of the greater song. Far across the desert, there are rocks that shine in red, gold, and purple when the sun rises and sets. The people believed these were not just rocks, but paintings left by the sky spirits. One legend tells of a child who asked the sky, "Why do you change your colors each night and morning?" the sky spirits replied, because each day is a new story. We paint the rocks so you will remember it. The painted rocks became sacred places for storytelling. Elders would gather the children at sunrise or sunset, pointing to the glowing cliffs as a canvas filled with living memory. Even now, when the desert shines with colors at dusk and dawn, many believe it is not only the light of the sun, but the brushstrokes of the sky spirits, painting reminders that every day holds a new story. And so, dear dreamer, the desert continues to reveal its secrets. We have flown with the eagle's shadow, listened to the singing sands, followed the roadrunner's guidance, held the sun's tears, sat in the whispering cave, and watched the painted rocks glow. Each tale reminds us that the desert is alive, speaking softly, patiently, endlessly. Let these stories settle into your heart as you rest. The night is long, and many more whispers await. Breathe deeply. Feel the cool night air on your skin, and prepare for the next chapter of our journey. The desert night is now at its quietest. The wind has softened to a gentle sigh. The moonlight rests gently upon the dunes, and the stars shine as if each one carries a secret. You are still here, dear dreamer, walking among the stories of the desert. Each tale is a lantern glowing softly in the darkness, guiding you deeper into rest. Let us listen to more whispers of the night. In the desert where speed and strength are prized, there is also wisdom and patience. The tortoise, slow and steady, carries his home upon his back and never rushes. There was once a boy who grew frustrated with himself. He was not fast like the runners, nor strong like the hunters. He felt small and unworthy. One day, he saw a tortoise moving across the desert, step by step, slow and steady. It made its way toward a hidden spring. The boy followed. Though the journey was long, he discovered water that he never would have found alone. The tortoise turned its head and spoke. Do not be ashamed of your pace. Every step has meaning. Patience will guide you where haste cannot. From Tenon, boy honored the tortoise and grew into a wise leader. The desert reminds us, the slowest path may sometimes be the truest. Though fireflies are rare in the desert, there is a tale of a night when they filled the sky like stars. Long ago, the people held a ceremony of song. They wished to call upon the spirits for rain. As their voices rose into the night, the desert glowed with tiny lights. Fireflies appeared, dancing in great swirls above the dunes. The people believed these lights were the laughter of the sky spirits, answering their songs. Not long after, rain came, filling the land with life. To this day, when sparks fly from a fire at night, people say they are the desert's fireflies, reminders that joy, song, and laughter can call even the sky to answer. In the heart of the desert lies a spring known only to the animals. The people tell of how it came to be. Once, a coyote, a deer, and a dove searched for water during a terrible drought. They were weak and near death, but still they pressed on together. At last, the dove fell to the ground, unable to go farther. The coyote and deer refused to leave her. They prayed to the spirits, not for themselves, but for their friend. The spirits, moved by their loyalty, caused water to burst forth from the ground. The animals drank, revived, and the spring has never dried since. The lesson is simple. When we care for one another, blessings flow more freely than if we walk alone. One evening, a child lay cold beneath the desert sky. She whispered, "I wish I had a blanket to keep me warm." The stars heard her. They spoke among themselves and decided to weave their light into a great blanket. That night, the Milky Way stretched across the heavens, shimmering like woven fabric. The child gazed upward and smiled, warmed not by cloth, but by the love of the stars. From Tenon, people called the Milky Way the blanket of stars. They believed it was a gift to remind them that no one sleeps without comfort, for the sky itself keeps watch. Far above the desert storms flies the mighty thunderbird, a creature of power and protection. It is said that when the thunderbird flaps its wings, thunder rolls across the sky. When it blinks, lightning strikes the earth. But the thunderbird does not bring storms in anger. It brings them to nourish the land. One summer, when the desert was dry and cracked, the people sang for the thunderbird. At first, the skies were silent. But as their song grew stronger, a great shadow swept over the land. The thunderbird had heard. It spread its wings, and rain poured down, saving the people and their crops. Even today, when thunder shakes the desert, people say, "The thunderbird sings again." It is a reminder that storms, tug fierce, can also bring life. In the harsh sands, beauty is rare, but there is a flower that blooms after heavy rain. The desert lily, fragile yet strong. There is a legend of a young woman who once wandered into the desert after losing all hope. She cried out to the spirits, asking why the world was so cruel. The next morning, she awoke to see a single lily blooming beside her. Its petals were white, pure, and glowing in the sunlight. The flower whispered, "Even in the harshest places, beauty can rise." She returned home with new strength, carrying the lesson of the desert lily. Hope blooms where we least expect it. In the high desert skies, the stars are countless. The people believed that someone must watch over them to ensure they never fall from the heavens. They spoke of the keeper of the stars, a gentle spirit who walked the desert at night with a staff of light. Whenever a star grew dim, the keeper lifted it back into the sky. One night, a child saw the keeper while dreaming. He asked, "Why do you keep the stars in the sky?" The keeper smiled, "Because without them, you would lose your way." The stars are not only for beauty, they are lanterns to guide the lost. And so, when a star falls across the desert sky, many believe it is not lost forever. It is simply being carried back by the keeper to shine again another night. And so, dear dreamer, we have walked with the tortoise, seen fireflies dance, discovered the hidden spring, wrapped ourselves in the blanket of stars, heard the thunderbird's song, touched the desert lily, and met the keeper of the stars. The desert reminds us that even in silence and hardship, there is guidance, beauty, and protection. Rest now. Breathe deeply. The night is not yet over, and many more whispers await. The night has grown deep. The stars above are steady. The desert wind hums a gentle lullaby, and you are drifting, slowly, softly, into the arms of rest. We have traveled far together tonight, across the endless sands and through the whispers of the desert's stories. Before the night closes, let us listen to a final handful of tales, gentle echoes to guide your dreams. There is a legend that each great dune in the desert has a guardian spirit. They shift with the wind, rising and falling, yet they always protect the land. Once, a wandering traveler grew lost in the dunes. No matter how he walked, the sands carried him back to the same place. Exhausted, he sank to his knees and whispered, "Why will you not let me pass?" The dune rose higher, and from its peak came a gentle voice. "I do not keep you from your path. I keep you safe from losing it." When the man opened his eyes again, the stars aligned to show him the true way. He returned home, forever grateful. The desert reminds us. Sometimes, when we feel blocked, we are simply being guided to safety. The owl is the quietest of hunters, moving silently under moonlight. In desert dailies, the owl is also a bringer of wisdom. Once, a young girl sat awake at night, afraid of the shadows. She prayed for comfort. Soon, an owl landed on a branch near her tent. Its eyes glowed like embers. The owl spoke softly. "Fear grows in silence, but so does wisdom. Look into the night, not with fear but with wonder." From that night on, the girl welcomed the shadows as companions, not enemies. The owl had given her the gift of courage. There is a sacred place in the desert where stones are arranged in a great circle. The people say that each stone is a memory, placed there by the ancestors. One night, a boy wandered into the circle. He sat among the stones and felt warmth, though the air was cool. Closing his eyes, he heard whispers, the voices of those who came before, offering comfort and guidance. The boy returned home with a calm heart. He knew he was never truly alone. The stones would always keep watch, holding the wisdom of his people. And so, even today, when travelers see stones arranged in circles, they stop to rest. They listen. They remember. The desert holds silence, Yet beneath that silence there's always a rhythm, the heartbeat of the earth itself. Long ago, the people said that this rhythm was kept alive by a great drum, hidden deep in the sand. The spirits played it, endlessly, keeping time for the world. When storms raged, the drum beat fast. When peace reigned, the drum beat slow. Even now, if you press your ear to the desert floor, you may feel it. A steady pulse, reminding us that we are connected to all that is. The last tale is not about the desert, nor the stars, nor the spirits. It is about you, the dreamer, who has walked this night with me. You who have listened to the tortoise, the owl, the thunderbird, and the stars themselves. The desert offers you this blessing. May your path be steady, like the tortoise. May your nights be guided, like the keeper of the stars. May storms bring you renewal, like the thunderbird's song. May beauty surprise you, like the desert lily after rain. And may your rest be deep, peaceful, and filled with gentle dreams. The night is now complete. The fire has burned low, the wind is quieted, and the stories have been told. You are safe. You are calm. You are carried by the desert's embrace. Let the blanket of stars cover you. Let the rhythm of the earth steady your breath, and let the whispers of the wind guide you into sleep. Rest now, dreamer. The desert keeps watch. The dawn will come soon, but for now, you are held in peace. Good night.